Hi Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. This is going to be a general reading for December 2024. And I want to welcome, if you are new to my channel, if you subscribed, or if you're coming back for another reading. This channel is officially a year old this December. And I thought to celebrate that, and also because it's holiday season for some of us that are celebrating, I want to give you a 25% discount on my personal readings. And so that'll be up probably about a week and a half maybe. And so the link for my personal readings is in my comment section and also in my description box below. And now what we're going to do is we are going to be doing the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And it's a reading that I'm offering actually as one of my personal readings. And I'm going to start off with the Ehrenberg Tarot. We're going to pull 6 cards from that. And then I'm going to clarify that with the Rider-Waite Radiant deck. And yeah, so let's start off by asking what issue Sagittarius is dealing with this month, whether it's a problem, whether it's a pattern that's showing up for you. And then I'll ask for a clarifier for that immediately, or maybe something that's blocking it or obscuring it. So we'll see here. I'm going to ask for 1 card. We'll see what comes out. If it's a second card that comes out with it, then I'll use that as the clarifier. So let's start off with 1 card for Sagittarius for this month, for December, what issue they're dealing with. You have the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles here. And that kind of came in sideways, so we'll put that there. What card is clarifying that or obscuring it? 1 card, please. Ooh, caught that. Almost fell off the table. You have the 5 of Swords, which is interesting because the itchy nose. We have a card right here, and I'll talk about it in a minute, and that's your overriding energy, and it's the 5 of Swords. So it's coming up twice here, which is interesting. Okay, what is over here on your right is the conscious influence, which is the influence that what's having an influence on this that you are consciously aware of, right? It's not something that I'm going to tell you and you're going to go, oh, it'll be something that you're aware of that's influencing this. And so let's have 1 card for that. There's these 2 cards that wanted to come out. You have the 7 of Swords and you have the Knight of Wands. Clarified that. On the right-hand side, my right-hand side, your left, you have the unconscious influence. So this is what you're not aware of. And it is going to, believe it or not, have the biggest impact on this situation right here. It's your shadow. It is what's coming up for healing. And if you're not familiar with shadow work, because that's what we're going to be doing here, I have left a really good video for you in my description box below called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Shadow Work. It's a video taken from my other channel, Carol Cares, and it's something I put together because I've been on my own healing journey intensively for the last 7.5 years to heal my own shadow. So I've been doing shadow work with the trauma coach. So I'm going to pick 1 card, ask for 1 card here that's sitting here in your shadow, that's coming up for healing, that you're not aware of. And it is the Ace of Pentacles. Interesting. Okay. What is needed for resolution right here? What's needed for resolution? One card. You have the Emperor. And at the bottom, advice from the tarot. And it'll be advice as to how you can start to heal the situation that you're sitting in right now. And it's the Tower in reverse. The Tower in reverse as advice. That's interesting. Okay. I'd rather get the Tower in reverse than the Tower, for sure. I'm gonna pick this, the Radiant Rider-Waite deck right here. All right, so I'm just gonna quickly, it did shuffle, but feeling like I need to mix it up a bit here. All right, so can I have some clarification for these two middle cards here? The Ten of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. A couple cards here. Some cards wanted to... Ooh! I'm going to put them all away. There's too many. I've decided if there's 4 cards, I'm not doing it. It makes the reading way too long. So, all right, let's start this again. Try this again. 2 cards. There we go. Now it's participating. One more. Yeah, there's 3 cards in there, so I want one more card. I guess I could deal with 2, but I do just want 1. There we go. Okay, Judgment card. And the Emperor in reverse. So Emperor comes out twice in this reading. Pay attention to that. Over here, the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Wands. So can I have a couple cards? 1 or 2 for that. I think I could probably just take 1. Four of Wands in reverse. The Shadow, Ace of Pentacles. The Unconscious Influence. So a couple cards, please. You had the Strength card and the Nine of Pentacles, or the Nine of Cups. Both of these were kind of sideways here, so we're going to put those sideways. How about the Emperor above? One more, please. You have the Eight of Cups in reverse. The Page of Swords. And at the bottom, guidance from the tarot. This Tower moment in reverse. Couple cards, please. It's always a surprise when they come upside down. Death card in reverse. And the Ten of Swords in reverse. Okay, so let's begin with this card over here, this Five of Swords that I have underneath my Cardinal. It is your overriding energy for this reading. And the Five of Swords, I pulled this card when I did your yearly reading in January 2024. And that's the card that I pulled for December. So the Five of Swords speaks about this individual with this grimace on his face because he's just won this battle. And I call this card my bullying card because this is really a bully. In the back, you can see the victim with his head down like this with this shame, right? And bullies bully because they're full of shame. And they're trying to give it away. And we aren't born with shame. Shame is something that's given to us as we're growing up. And you know, and we end up having it. Everybody has it. Every single person on this planet has it, and it's the shittiest feeling ever. And so your overriding energy here speaks about shame. And you have the Five of Swords right here again, right in the middle here of the issue that you're dealing with. So there's very much the big emotion here that's coming up for you is shame, and that is the one where you just, you know, you're feeling very unworthy. And so we're going to see how that's showing up and why it's showing up and how you can start to heal this. And so the main card that came out here before it's clarified with this shame is, and it's came out sideways, is the Ten of Pentacles. And it's interesting how, yeah, this particular deck kind of highlights a certain part of the Ten of Pentacles of the Rider-Waite deck. And this is this old man with this beard right here. And he's holding on to, I think, with his dog. And I think in the picture there's a dog. And this card speaks about generations, because on the Rider-Waite deck, it has, you know, about 3 different generations. And it very much speaks of generation card, our lineage, where we came from. It has a Kabbalistic tree of life usually on there. And so it very much talks about, you know, where we came from, and having to look at, you know, what we've inherited from our caretakers and their caretakers, and so on and so on. So it talks about generational trauma and what we've inherited. Now, as a species, we all have trauma on a continuum. And in particular, it's clarified by this Five of Swords here. And so there's some shame here. And I told you that we're not born with shame. And so there's a shame here that you're needing to heal, that's been handed down to you from generations. And that's what the issue here that's coming up for you to heal this month. And the Judgment card comes out here. And the Judgment card is a card about this angel trying to wake up these individuals from the coffin. So it is very much, it's a major arcana card, and it's kind of like this universal force that's trying to wake us up, or wake you up to this trauma, that's this shame that is sitting in your system that needs to be healed. And this last card that comes in, very interesting, is the Emperor card. And the Emperor talks about that figure. I call him Mr. Emperor in an upright position, because he's been sitting on that chair, that stone, solid, number 4 chair here for a long time. And he's quite confident he doesn't need to budge, because he has created these imaginary rules for the city behind him that he rules. And everybody follows them. Everybody follows them. Nobody questions them. And so this is in reverse here, because I think it's come time where you have been sort of following to the point where it's controlling you, these imaginary rules that have been handed down to you, but there's a lot of shame behind them. And so maybe it'll become more clear as to what's going on with you. But it's time now that you start to question, what sort of things have you been following? These societal rules that you've been following all along, but there's so much shame behind them. And oftentimes it's kind of like that's the way we were raised, and we have a tendency to not question it, because maybe they're not your rules, but you're following them. And there's so much shame behind them. And so what is the conscious influence? What are you aware of here? Well, you had these 2 cards. One clarifies the other. The Seven of Swords comes up here, and this is a beautiful depiction of the Seven of Swords here. Seven of Swords speaks about an individual, and it's normally called the Thief card. And in an upright position, this talks about the swords. Swords are our mental energy. It's the Thief card because this thief running away with 7 swords. And actually, they're not all 7 swords, but they're running away with these swords. And swords are like our mental thoughts, our mental patterns. They're what people told us about ourselves. And so when people tell us things about ourselves growing up, we believe that's who we are. And we put on these masks when we come out into society, right? we've been taught to put these masks on with the Emperor because there's certain rules that we're following, but there's a lot of shame behind that. And we're peeking out here. I think you're starting to feel it's in reverse here because you really there's been a real resistance to looking at, who's that person? Who's that person behind all of these things that I've been told about myself, that I've been led to believe all these years, and I have never questioned them. And the universe is kind of saying, it's time here to question it. And I think you're feeling that with this Knight of Wands. The knights in my deck are what I call my freedom fighters. There's a part of you, and it's in everybody, it's an adolescent part of you that wants to be free to go towards the authentic you. And in particular, this is the wand. The wand is our purpose, our direction we take, our creative wand, taking our life into something that would lead you more towards who you truly are. And then, so I think here you are feeling this pull towards going towards your freedom and taking off that mask of all of those things that people told you and starting to question, what are these rules that you've been following all your life here? And here's the wands again. This time it's in reverse. The Four of Wands talks about these individuals walking away from this walled city. And I'm wondering if this is you, where you're ready to walk away to this new direction. Now, the Emperor often talks about, like, it's a very controlling figure. So I'm wondering here if maybe you are in a situation, or you actually were. I'm not looking at your shadow right here, but I'm feeling this sense of control, either controlled by what society has told you, what you've learned growing up. And you could still be in a controlling environment here where you're quite aware that you're feeling this nudge to kind of go into this new direction and to walk away from whatever it is that's controlling you, whether it's these imaginary rules you've been following, or whether it actually is a situation where you're being controlled by, it could be a partner you're with, it could be a friend, it could be, a colleague at work or something at work, but there's a situation here or someone here that maybe that's controlling you that you're ready to walk away from. But there's still, when we want to make this big change for ourselves, and when this is what this healing journey is about, when we're ready to make this big change, sometimes we just kind of get stuck because there's something that's coming up from your shadow that needs to heal, and then you're going to be ready to do this. So what's coming up here from your shadow that's saying, what you need to heal here? Well, the Ace of Pentacles comes up, and the Ace is a gift from the universe. It's like, here you go. Here's a gift. I'm giving you a gift. It's an offer. It's sitting right in the front of your shadow. It's your body. It's your body. It's like, it's getting back to, who you were. And because when we're in our body, when you were like 4, 5, 6 years old, you were very much in your body. You knew who you were. You were very comfortable with you. But along the way, people told you all these things about yourself, and you believed them, but they weren't you, right? And I think that's where the control comes in. It wasn't you. People told you things about yourself that shamed you, and you had to put these masks on because you felt like the real you wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. So you put that real you away. Here it is right here. You're being in your body and being quite comfortable with who you were. You put that all away because that real you wasn't good enough for people. And in the strength card here, it's sideways here, and you lost any in an upright in another position, not in your shadow. This strength card talks about that ability to be able to feel your emotions and to be very much in your body and feel what comes to you. You weren't able to when you were younger. You were too young. And so when these big emotions came up and people told you things about yourself that weren't true, you would have left your body, and you wouldn't have been able to, you didn't have the strength to face these big emotions here. And so you very much, this is what this Nine of Cups tells me here. This is an individual. They haven't reached the Ten of Cups yet, but at the Nine of Cups, they've put all these cups up on this shelf here, and they're like, I'm done feeling. I'm not going to feel anymore. And that's what happened to you, was you very much shut down. You put all your emotions away. You put them all away. And you no longer were able to be in your body to feel these big emotions. And so there's a real call here to get back to your authenticity, to face this, to get, face what it is that people told you about yourself that shamed you. And that comes with sort of that controlling of people trying to control you. And that was very much when you were controlled, you were not allowed to be you. And that is very obvious here in your shadow. So what's needed here for resolution for you? Well, the Emperor card comes out in an upright position. This is really a time here where you need to start to look at how you were controlled, how you need to look at what sort of things you were told that kept you in order, what rules did you learn when you were younger that kept you in line. The Eight of Cups comes here, and this is in reverse. The Eight of Cups talks about an individual that is walking away from these cups. They're not walking away from their emotion. What they're doing is they're walking away in order to feel these emotions. They're taking this journey alone. And I can see here that this is what's needed for you. It's in reverse because there's a resistance to doing it. And I think I think you're aware that you need to go off somehow and find time to yourself, whether that's, literally, physically, taking yourself and starting this journey to feel some of these emotions and how people have, told you these things about yourself that are not true, people have controlled you, and these things you continue to believe about yourself, the shame that you continue to, that you're carrying that needs to be released and felt. But it's in reverse because right now there is a resistance to doing that. It's like, but I think this is where you're wanting to go and needing to go. And you have a page that comes up right here now. And this is an inner child. My pages in my deck are inner children. And whenever a page shows up in the deck, it means there's an inner child here that's coming up for healing. And I know that the mainstream psychology likes to say there's just one inner child that we have, but we have more than one inner child because we have different children, different parts of us, our inner children that hold different emotions, different memories. And this particular one is the Page of Swords. And it's the child that is carrying your sword of authenticity. This is the page that's when you were 4, 5, 6 years old. This inner child of yours that knew who you were. That was very much in their body when they were younger and couldn't stay in their body anymore and didn't have the strength and shut down their emotions because I think they were so controlled. And so you need to get back to that younger child of yours that holds your truth, that knows who you are. And that's why there's this big pull here, I think, for you to take off this mask that these masks that you've been wearing in society, that you've been taught to put on, because the real you here was told they weren't good enough to go out into society and be you. And so there's a real part of you, an inner child, that needs healing. And this is the part that if there's an inner child that comes up, they need to be listened to, and they need to be heard, and they need to be understood. And so there's some real grief here, usually that they're carrying. And with that grief is also feelings of shame that need to be felt. And so what is needed here for resolution for you? Well, this Tower card, there's a tower in, it's the first Tower card, right? Yeah. This is a Tower card that's coming up, but it's coming up in reverse. And when the Tower card comes up in my deck, I always kind of don't get really flustered by it yet, because there's a reason for it, and I'm not quite sure what it is until I get through the reading. And I'm understanding here that the Tower moment, when a Tower moment comes up in our life, this is a Tower in reverse. So the Tower moment in an upright position would come up when the universe is kind of saying, all right, you have been on this path for a certain while. You've been taking your life in this certain direction, and there's a real crucial change that needs to take place here, and you're not quite seeing it. I'm kind of speaking from my own experience, and the universe will take this big baseball bat and say, okay, Carol, here's a Tower moment for you. Here's a baseball bat, boom, and it's going to be something very painful that comes up, that happens, because you need to go into a different direction. And it's not something that, it's something that's very, very painful. And we don't always see it coming. And it's not something that we understand. That's what I was trying to say. It's not something we understand until it's like 20/20 hindsight, where you just look back and you go, oh, that's why that had to happen. But that's after all this, processing of the pain that came with the Tower moment. But this is in reverse. And so this is a final red flag for you. This is a final red flag for you that's saying it's time for you to let go of someone. It's time for you to let go of some old habits. It's time for you to let go of something. Something needs to let go here. There's a real resistance on your part to doing it. But the universe says, I know there's a real resistance to you, on your part. Here's the final red flag. Someone needs to go. Something needs to exit your life. And you know what it is. It's a general reading. Because this is what it's doing to you. This is what all these thoughts that you've been telling yourself, all of these thoughts, this Seven of Swords over here that people have told you about yourself, they're not true. They're not true. And this is this shame. You've been carrying around this shame of who you think you are, but it's not you, your authenticity. It's sitting right here. This is who you are right here. It's time for you to get back into your body. It's time for you to heal this younger part of you that knows who you are. Because all of these thoughts have done you in. This is what it's done to you. Or this is what it's going to do to you. It's where we become quite exhausted. It takes a lot of energy to push all of this shame down. And so I'm going to give you a playlist on shame, and I'm also going to give you a playlist on journaling, and that playlist will help you with how to journal from your shame so that you can get in touch with this inner child and get in touch with what they're feeling and what they know and how they feel about the shame that they've been carrying around. It's not you. And you've continued to carry this around for too long now. This is what this Ten of Swords is. It's too long now. Here's a final red flag for you. Here's a final red flag for you to deal with this. So, playlist on journaling and a playlist on shame. I will see you in a couple weeks. I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is the toughest journey, but it's the most important one. Take care. Bye-bye.